Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Mike Draws Comics. This is Mike, and I'm drawing comics. So, come on in, hang out, chill with me as we doodle on some paper. So happily, let me move that keyboard out the way. So this is actually part of a double page spread, but I'm just drawing the details on one side at a time, and then I'll merge it together. And then when I do that, I'll draw the stuff in the middle. So what's up, P Money? Yes, I did this for you. I did it for you because I saw you ask. That was you that asked, right? I should probably post this up in the view on YouTube. Oh, hold on a second. Share, like and share, everybody. Like and share. Come on. Probably only going to do this for about an hour. What time does it run? Yeah, about an hour because I want to go watch some TV with my woman. But this is the Mongol Horde. How's the quarantine in California these days? It's just dandy. It's just dandy. You should come on out to Cali and enjoy. This is obviously not going to be a very rambunctious stream as I am quietly doodling away. I'm sorry I haven't. Hey, what's up, Flyfox and Calliope? Sorry I haven't been making a lot of content. I haven't been doing Nerds of the Round Table. I'm back into drawing mode, man. I've got so much drawing to do. Drawing is what I love to do. I do love creating the stories as well. It's drawing and writing. It's all part of the plan. But I just love it, and I do, in fact, love it more than I love sitting around wasting time on YouTube trying to collect super chats. So sorry. I still do my important shows, the shows I deem to be important, but a lot of us sitting around just blowing smoke, chit-chatting. I mean, how many guys are out there who should be working on their comics, and instead they're spending just countless hours. And I was guilty of the same thing. Countless hours streaming instead of working on my comics. This is nice where I can sit down and I can work on the comics at the same time. But yeah, it's not consistent, is it? All right. We want you to be happy with what you're doing, Mike, or at least I do. Well, thank you. Yeah, and I'm a workaholic, and that's not necessarily the best thing to be on Earth. A lot of guys like me, they'll forget that. Actually, I know a couple different guys, who it's like they have lost their marriages. A couple different guys I know. I probably know more than a couple. Just the two that have confided in me about this. They've lost their marriages because they're just workaholics, and so it's like they forgot that you have to put time into your relationships as well as time into your work. And it's like, yeah, of course you have to. You're the provider. You're the man, right? But part of being a man is giving your spouse the attention they need to be loved. Love is an action word. Love is a verb. It's a choice and a decision and an action. It's not just a feeling. It's not just a feeling deep inside. Oh yeah. That looks terrible, but nobody can even tell, can you? Talking to us is wasting time. I'd be lying if I said that didn't hurt a bit. I just mean if I'm sitting here, no, like here, I can look up, I can read a thing, I can answer you guys. And I love it when you ask me questions or make snacky comments like that so that I can respond. But those just endless live streams where you're just on every night and you're with however many people and you're obviously not working. You're just shooting the crap. And yeah, maybe it's part of the business because you're marketing. That's fine, but my business was I never intended my business to be YouTube. And I don't want my business to be YouTube. I want my business to be creating comic books, creating stories, universes upon universes of just cool stuff. And to my end goal, chatting relentlessly on YouTube is not the thing. It's like Kelsey Shannon, man. Kelsey Shannon will just disappear. He's like, I got work to do. Nope's out. And then when he's really busy, but he's got to do like the Jack Show or something, he'll actually be drawing while he's on the Jack Show. So that kind of a work ethic. That's kind of me, I guess. I mean, not to a T or anything, but your work must be satisfying because it is something people tune in to watch. And that is why I teased you years ago into proving that you really do dance. Make sure, Mrs. Miller, and your kids are happy. Yeah. We went to the beach yesterday. Me and the three little ones and my mother. If you're friends with me on Facebook, then you saw the pictures. If you're not, then too bad. Nothing spectacular, just the kids at the beach. So, but it was nice. It's nice to just get my mom out of the house. She has been cooped up this whole time. The beaches are finally open, and we were actually only there for about an hour, but it was nice to have that time. It was nice. Like a while ago, you told me that if I keep submitting to draw along, I would get people interested in working with me, and it actually worked. Oh, right on, Fly Fox. Awesome, dude. Yeah, I love hearing that. I love hearing that, man. It's nice that we are building something, even though I don't do all that much, like I was saying. We are building something, right? I mean, that's a good promotional show. It's a good for artists to get people's eyes on their work and stuff. A broader range. Did you get commissions, or did you actually get work? I mean, not that commissions aren't work, but I mean, did you get like a print publish? I don't know what happened. Give us information. Give me information. I make fun of you sometimes when I don't see you post in a while, but do what's best, and you've always been good at answering any of my questions on Twitter, Discord, email, etc. So no hard feelings. Oh, thank you, my Canadian friend. Colonel Irwin says, What? What are you hmming about? Hey, have you guys seen the ads on Twitter for, what is it, Catherine the Great? Oh my gosh, that looks so funny. I'm looking forward to that. Give him a little towel. A horsey towel. Actually don't know what kind of looms they used, but whatever. The Mongols were traipsing across Europe and Asia taking stuff from everyone, so I could probably use pretty much anything. And then I wanted to, let's see. See, this is actually Svarog's father, Dmitri. So they have, in case you can't tell what I am doing here, they've got full gloves and they've got long caps. This is Svarog right here. And full face masks. They're in COVID territory because they're vampires, so they can't expose their skin even while they're out there in the field massacring the enemies of the Golden Horde. I drew a story for the Corona Kings anthology zine, and they want me to do more stuff in the future. Right on, brother. Right on. Congratulations. Great, great, great to hear. I hope everyone is getting hooked up with artists, hooking up with writers, hooking up with publisher, whoever, whatever, man. Ever. I like that my channel is, even the other one, Blacklist Universe, is more about the art. You know, I mean, obviously I enjoy talking about politics and stuff like that, but it seems like I'm tailoring most of that channel to art. Even though, if you didn't know it, this is a Mike Draws Comics. This is Mike Draws Comics. Welcome one and all. What's up, Jiminy Cricket? Let me know. Hey, I sent the link to the group. I don't know if you're in that group or not. But feel free to jump in if you want to chat. Did your mom and the kids have a great time on the beach? Yeah. Yeah, Jojo loves the beach. He'll just out and out say, I love the beach. My mom had a good time. She just kind of hung out. It was just good to get out. Oot in a boot. Get oot in a boot. Get oot in a boot. Get oot in a boot. Pitching a space fantasy book. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I wish I had the bandwidth and the funds to do all my stories. Like, just all at once. And then I could start coming up with new stories. Like, I just came up with a story with Micah that we want to do. I got to find time for that, too. I want to flesh that out. You know what? I'll probably do it after Eden is done with the high school, because she's going to draw it. I'm probably going to do layouts, and then she'll do the art, and that'll be awesome because it'll be like a family project. Can't come in on a deadline, and chatting will slow me down even more than usual. Jiminy Cricket, I'm pretty sure typing on YouTube will slow you down more than chatting while you draw. Just a suggestion. These are 12th century Russian spears. Rus. There was no Russia. It was just Rus. I am Rus. Also known as Ruskies. They are the Ruskies. Alright, peace out. It's been too raining cold in Wisconsin, and I don't even know if our governor will let us near the lakes, even if it is cold. Which governor is yours? No. Somebody wants to share this link over to the Discord, please do. Please do. What's up, Silas? What's up, Silas? All right, so I'm going to draw what I've got laid out already, and then I'm going to start adding in stuff. This is just going to be filled. I'm going to have Russian soldiers, Rus soldiers. See, what a traitor, huh? These guys are Rus, but they're starting to fight for the Mongols, and terrible, terrible. But I'm going to fill all this space up. So the top half behind these guys and behind these guys, like up here, will be just empty. Maybe some arrows flying. But the rest from this line down will be a sea of Mongols. Because I hate myself, apparently. The other two are more comedy-based, so I'm going to do those two first. Cool. Cool deal, bro. I'm so glad to hear. So glad to hear. So what else is up? What else is up? Actually, let me check my mail real quick because I am waiting for an email. Don't think I got it today. No, got a money transfer. That's good. Remittance. Oh, what's that for? Got a little more money from Amazon for the Meg books. That's good. Good. Man, the other day I sold like 6 Meg books. I don't know. Maybe somebody like said something on a video or something. That was a good day for Meg. Getting paid for crypto fashion. I don't know. What? Blacklist miniatures. What the heck? Apparently, there's something called Blacklist Miniatures on Kickstarter. It's your logo is on this tabletop. Well, it's not really my logo. It's almost my logo. That's weird. All right. All right. I have not gotten it yet. All right. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I need to get an update on the ETA for when my books are getting in because I got to clean that garage out. What's up, Megs? Megs it into his house. I'm sure at some point Meg 2 will come to theaters. I hope to promote it hard when that happens. Yeah. Is Kickstarter going to go out of business? No. No. Why? Is somebody selling you that pipe dream? Don't buy that, Silas. Keep in mind, people with agendas will just say whatever they have to say to make it sound like they're winning some vague culture war. And I am going to give him this bow. An arrow. Actually, I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but Edwin did a whole thing yesterday on Kickstarter. Maybe you should check it out. Didn't they put out a statement saying they're bankrupt? No, they put out a statement saying that what do you call it? They were down 35% this year. I think in terms of projects or something like that. I don't recall anything about bankruptcy. Unless this is new. Is this something new you heard today? Do you have a news source? Like an actual news source? Not some YouTuber? Yeah, everyone's filling in. There's 12 people here. 12 people got no rhythm. Wait, that's not even a song. A couple days ago. Well, if you got a news source, let me know. Don't consider YouTube news. A whole lot of personal interjection and speculation. You know what? I'm gonna give him a shirt under his pauldrons, and then this. It's gonna look like Mongolian Antifa. Blessings, Sharon. How are you? You think it was Drudge? Drudge? The Drudge report said Kickstarter is bankrupt. But you and Ben Shapiro are my news sources, Mike Jones. Ben isn't a news source. Well, I don't know. I know Ben, he reads a lot of news articles. And, I do that too. But it's not like I'm the source of the article. Right? He just does a lot of political commentary. Commentary and hard news are not the same thing. I hear that the governor nuisance is finally opening up businesses on Friday. Matt, jump in here, man. You have the link. We can talk nuisance. It's in the D&Q. The link's in the D&Q room. Matt would be proud of me going to the beach with my kids yesterday. Yeah, it does. It needs to open up. That's for sure. Man, I do kind of miss working on medieval stories. Although, I'm sure I could just... darn it. That's right. I forgot. I have to work on the next Clash of the Kings cover. What's up, Jojo? What's up, buddy? What you want? What's mommy doing? Jojo doesn't want to talk. What is that? Oh, tiny little gun. No one has anything to say. No one has any questions. Questions, comments. Anybody want to... I don't know. Any questions about the art itself? This is going to take me a while. Hey, Jojo. Oh, you got to work on that secret project. I forgot. What did you tell me it was about again? It's about secrets. Clash of Kings, Game of Thrones? Yes. Yes, Clash of Kings, Game of Thrones. I do the covers for the comic book, Silas, in case you didn't know. And I need to get around to doing the next one pretty soon here. Pretty soon. Sharon is painting. Oh, that's lovely, Sharon. Someday, when I'm not so pressed for time, I am going to get back into oil painting. I really enjoy it. But time. See what's become of me. You know I was still doing it? I'm still doing it. I'll probably do it until I don't know, until George doesn't want me to anymore. I don't think I'll ever get so busy I can't spend one day a month doing Game of Thrones. What would you say is the average amount of time a week you say you are on the clock working? I don't know. It feels like I don't get enough done. It also feels like I'm always working. So it's kind of a weird conundrum. Clockwise, I couldn't tell you though. I wish I could. That'd be nice. Oh, Junkyard's here too. Right on, right on. I figured they probably got someone who was more PC. Well, that's an interesting thing because George is actually extremely left wing, but he is a loyal guy, right? He's always like, I'm gonna dance with the one that brung me. And so he actually ended up sticking with the Dable brothers for years and years because they were the ones that brought him into doing comics. Um, they were the reason Dynamite ended up with the Game of Thrones license. That was a deal the Dables made with Dynamite. Where do I want to go here? Actually, that deal is where Dynamite ended up picking up a lot. I don't know if this is public knowledge, probably not, but Dynamite picked up a lot of their licensed properties because of the DeBell brothers. They made a deal with the DeBell brothers, who were behind on a lot of financial issues, and so Dynamite came in, bought out their license, gave people literally freaking pennies on the dollar, just to get them paid, right? Just to get them, like, because the DeBells owed a lot of people a lot of money, and so this was like a one time. Look, we can pay you eventually someday, maybe, or we can pay you this much right now if you just call it quits. And so I think most people probably took that deal. But part of that, them paying off all of the debts of the DeBells, was getting all of these licenses. I think Anita Blake. No, wait, did Anita Blake go to Marvel? Because they made another similar deal with Marvel like years before that. But that's how Dynamite ended up with Game of Thrones. The things I know. The things I know. I could write a book with the things I know. The things you do for love. Things you do for love. Alright, how's that look? Not bad, huh? I think Doug TeNapel worked for 1 hour a day. No. So you don't like punch in at a specific time of day and say, I'm going to work for the next 6 hours? Jeez, no. No, I've never had that luxury or schedule. Sometimes I will sit down and work for 6 hours. All right, I'm going to have a guy looking up over. So let's say this is... Question is, why are another Russian guys on horses? But I feel like that's a question I don't have to bother answering. How's your back from all the sitting? Generally fine. Sometimes my neck will go out of whack. That kind of sucks. But generally my back is fine as long as I've got my table at the right height next, all things considered. Things we do for all will be revealed. Stuff I know from Dynamite, the stuff I know from Devil's Due, the stuff I know from Wildstorm, Marvel, DC. Kung Fu Kitty saying hello to all. Very nice, very nice. This guy is going to be full bearded here. Broskies like their beards. Daddy be hungry. Gosh, I don't know why. I'm freaking hungry like all day today. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm like hungry right now. I was gonna go make some egg rice, but we don't have any stinking naughty. Because the kids think naughty is a treat instead of something, an ingredient for bigger meals. Sparog smirking summons Mongol Horde. I used to read a lot of Malibu comics. Were you ever involved with them, Mike? Yeah, Malibu was the first professional company, first company I worked for. Professional or otherwise, actually, in comics. I was the inker on Protectors. I was the cover artist for Protectors, the newsstand cover artist for Protectors. I inked practically everything that Tom Duranick worked on at Malibu. And then they wouldn't give me The only work I did on the Ultraverse was I inked an issue of Solution, and then I left for greener pastures. Well, not greener, but higher paying pastures. I'll have to go work for Eric Larson and Jim Lee and Marvel and DC. Not in that order. It was probably Marvel, Eric Larson, DC, Jim Lee, and then Rob Liefeld did some stuff over at Extreme. I did. Pat Lee was on Fraga's show last night. I used to ink Pat over at Extreme. They ignored my comment in the chat. Whatever, man. I'm disappointed in my old friends. Tamago Kake Gohan. We just call it Tamago Gohan. Egg rice. Could never get into it. Raw. Always have to fry my egg with rice. Can do raw eggs with sukiyaki though. Ooh, sukiyaki sounds nice. Our sukiyaki heater, burner, whatever for the tabletop. I think we can't find the plug for it, so it's like we just have to make sukiyaki on the stove. And just keep bringing it back over to the stove to heat it up, and then bring it back to the table. And that's the good stuff, man. Then, of course, Marvel took over Malibu. Wasn't that because Marvel likes their machinery or something? Because of the coloring. The coloring. Malibu had a legit Photoshop coloring I don't know what coloring house, I guess you could call it. I think they did a lot of the early image coloring too. And then Marvel gobbled them up, and all of those wonderful, wonderful comics from Ultraverse disappeared into the ether. Why aren't your legs atrophied the size of JoJo's or the young boys from this type of work? Because I walk. I usually walk 2 or 3 times a week. Make me up before you, JoJo. I had the same issue. We were going to make takoyaki, but couldn't find the plug. Order a new one. Oh gosh, I hadn't even thought about ordering a new one. Derp. Derp, derp, derp. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a Russian guy on a horse on this side, because I don't have any Russian guys on horses. Oh, we're gonna watch the Doug stream and go to bed and have stuff. You know, we had a really weird sleep schedule last night. What was it? I went to bed around. I think I went to bed around 2. Woke up at 4. My wife was awake too, and so we watched a couple episodes of Last Kingdom. Went to bed at 6:30. Tried to go to sleep at 6:30. Not sure what time I fell asleep, but it was just like one of those can't sleep kind of nights. And then got up. My friend called me. We talked for a while, but he called me too early for me to get up and have had 8 hours sleep. So I ended up taking an hour nap around 7 to 8. So now I'm not really tired. I'm not sure if I should be though. Let's see. Let's sit you back here a little bit. Mike Driscoll, what is the best way to try to get yourself discovered by publishers? Bro, that's so, I don't know, something I haven't even tried to do in so long, and the world has changed so much. It used to be I would tell you to send physical packets to the publishers, you know, and mark them personal and confidential. That's the way I used to do it. I would be sending out art packets like every few weeks, every month or something. Always trying to update publishers with my work. Always trying to, you know, keep my schedule full. Um, and I think it was Tom Brevoort actually that told me to do that. He's like, send me the package, mark it personal and confidential. That way it'll go right through my assistant and it'll get right to my desk. And I'm guessing that would probably still work these days. And it'd be something, usually these guys are just getting emails, right? They're just getting emails of stuff, and they probably get 1,000 emails a day. How many of them do you think get portfolios in the mail? They'd probably get it and go, holy cow, I haven't seen one. And then, that's the way to do it. Junkyard done. You looking forward to Black Flag? Oh, my neck is kind of twinging on me a little bit. If my stomach keeps growling, I'm gonna have to go to the Mexican place, or just go make something to eat. I hate his cover. I hope his interiors are better. I'm going to search up his old stuff and then maybe get me into it. Dan has certainly gotten a lot better over the years. It's nice to see because some guys you see and they don't get any better. I don't know want to name anybody, but it's just like they find some sort of a niche or a groove and they just keep kind of whittling away at that same thing they've been doing for 25 years. And it's like, man, learn something, change something. It doesn't matter how good you are. You think you can't get better in 25 years? You can. I mean, I could name some people, but I won't. But Dan certainly has, for sure. For sure. Now that horse looks way too small for that dude. Your assistants have assistants to wade through portfolios they receive. Yeah, that's why you mark it personal and confidential. If it's marked personal and confidential, it goes right to their desk. It's beautiful. Someone is closing my door for some reason. Russians actually have different bridles than the Mongolians did, so I have to keep that in mind as I do this. And the kids are running around the house, making all ton of noise. Wonderful. How much of the Blacklist Universe world is in your head compared to what's already written out? I haven't written entire stories. I have written out characters, who they are, what they do, but not their entire stories. So, except for, well, okay, there's some that I do have more stories than others. But really, it's about creating the characters, and part of that is their stories. Like um, I have the main villain and who he is and why he wants what he wants for the atomic family, and I have how they get their powers and where they get their powers, and how that story um, develops needs to be fleshed out. But I have it in general, stuff like that. So I can't give you numbers on stuff like that. Writers seem to be the weak link in the indie scene. I don't know about the big two and all the others. Man, Mike never sleeps at night. I do. I do. I do. Do you think the environment will attract writing talent at all, or are they better off doing something novel like and going the digital publishing model? What do you mean? Uh, I'm a harsh critic. To me, it would be Kim Jung-gi, Karl Kaplinski, and then Dan way below them. I really don't like what I've seen so far. Well, I mean, you can't compare anybody to Kim Jung-gi, right? The fact that Dan can whip stuff up like from that same sort of a place of mental imagery, that's phenomenal in and of itself. But Kim Jung-gi is like, yeah, he's Kim Jung-gi. Sounds of life. It's nice sometimes when it's so quiet where I live. How much should? Oh, here's a problem, and I'm not throwing anybody in particular under the bus, but a lot of artists, they don't actually know what good writing is, right? They're not good writers themselves, and they don't understand what good writing is. So even if they do hire a writer, sometimes they hire a writer that isn't any good either. And you know, I mean, even in Marvel and DC, there aren't that many good writers out there. Um, that's always been a problem for me with mainstream comics, particularly Image comics, because what I just said about artists, a lot of artists not understanding what good writing is. I kind of just described most of Image comics. That's why so much of their stuff is just unreadable crap. Like if you've got decades worth of that, like the early Image stuff, it's like, oh yeah, because I got so much Image comps over the years, and it's almost all just unreadable crap because artists tend to not know what good writing is. And then they're like, oh, I'll hire my buddy from college. He's a good writer. And no, it's not. He's not a good writer. He's just your buddy from college. You know? you locking Max in here? They're playing with Max through the door. So you're saying New Warriors didn't have good writers? I didn't read it. I love OG Image, but that's the truth when it comes to writing. Yeah, what you get is just piles and piles of books with pretty pictures, and I don't know. That's one thing, but I'd rather go. If I'm gonna read a comic, I want it to be entertaining, not just pretty. So I don't know. I'm doing, that's why I took the time to read and study the actual craft of writing, because some people might think it just comes naturally, and you might have a natural affinity for certain things, like the way people speak, like like I'm always going on about how I hate what's his name, Quentin Tarantino's storytelling, but I love his scenes. Right, he's got this great sense of dialogue and how people interact and whatnot, but story, he needs to learn. He needs to sit down and learn basic story structure and storytelling, because a lot of this stuff it just doesn't come naturally. It doesn't. George, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I could be a writer if I didn't have to kiss so many rings. When done, a bad writer with a good artist will end up with something that looks like a comic. You have Kirkman with Modern Image. He's a great writer. Kirkman's a decent writer. Comparatively, he's a great writer. But I don't know, man. I got really bored with Walking Dead after the 4th graphic novel, and I quit then. And then with Invincible, I used to love Invincible. Man, I loved Invincible. But I went back and I tried to read the 4th omnibus, because I'm friends with Ryan Otley, and he would give me books and stuff. And I tried to read it. I'm like, dude, Kirkman is just mailing this crap in. They should have ended that years before they did, because Kirkman was apparently he didn't care anymore. And if you don't care about your own creations, then, well, you might as well be Jim Lee at that point. And you can argue that point with me, but let me ask you something. Where's Wildstorm? Where's Wildstorm? It's gone. Where's all the Wildstorm characters? They're gone. Did Jim Lee have the power to keep them? Yes. Good point, Mike. Each scene is excellent, but stringing together a story is weaker. Yeah. I'm astonished when an artist in comics doesn't learn how to tell a story. To me, growing up in the 80s, it seemed like artists could learn story, eventually becoming amazing writers. Yeah, but that's the thing. You have to actually do the homework, and becoming a writer isn't as easy. Like, you're an artist, it's like you can just look at stuff and copy it. Becoming a writer is a lot more complicated than that. You have to learn, story structure, pacing, dialogue. Again, some people, it's kind of a natural thing, but there's an ebb and flow to scenes that people kind of take for granted, and they think it feels natural, but you have to think about it when you're building a story. And so I know there's guys I'm friends with, so I don't want to feel like I'm talking down to anybody, but guys who just they wing it, right? They're just they're winging their stories, and they may come out fun and cool and whatnot, but if they just sat down and they took the time to learn the craft, I think it would take their work to a new level. I don't know. I just wanted. I don't want to just be an artist who writes. I want to be a good writer, and so that's why I try to study the actual craft of writing. So tell you what, I'm pretty sure I've read more books on writing than most of the people writing comics today. Don't have a computer set up, so I can't stream tonight. Matt, it took you an hour to answer that question. To be clear, when a bad writer writes a prose novel, it is painfully obvious when they suck. But when a bad writer teams with a good artist, it can still look like a good comic, even if it is. Ah! Fair enough, Steve. Fair enough. Yeah. Unfortunately, the thing there aren't, like I said, there aren't a lot of writer or artists that know what good writing is. The sad truth is there aren't a lot of fans that know what good writing is either. Um, and so you'll get a lot of fans blowing a lot of smoke up a lot of people's butts because they have no clue what good writing is. And so you'll have artists that think like, oh, I'm a great writer, all my fans love me. It's like, yeah, your parents love you too. That doesn't make them freaking qualified critics. That's why I even if people don't like me when they criticize my writing, I am attentive to what they're actually saying. It doesn't mean I necessarily agree, but I do realize that sometimes the people that dislike you will give you a more honest critique of your work than the people who do like you. And it's important, it is desperately important for people to be able to accept and what's the word? Sort of digest critique. CG has gotten out of hand, huh? Too many amateurs dogpiling each other. Yeah, no comment. I did an indie comic expo a few years ago, and there was a lot of good artists, so I bought a bunch of comics. There was almost universally no story at all, not even much happening. It was weird. Yeah, Steve, that's it's funny if you read the book Story by Robert McGee, which if any of you ever seen the movie adaptation, that the Brian Cox character is based on Robert McGee. He's like the story guru of Hollywood. He would teach lessons on storytelling and stuff. But he wrote a book called Story to kind of explain. And this thing is like 2 inches thick. It's like a PhD level treatise on storytelling and screenwriting, not just screenwriting in general. All stories should have a structure, whether it's a novel, whether it's a freaking short story, whatever, whether it's a comic book or a screenplay. They should all have story structure. They should have rhythm, like all that kind of stuff I was talking about. But in that book, he talks about how in the 40s and 50s that his book wouldn't have been necessary because everyone in Hollywood knew how to write. You couldn't get a job in Hollywood if you didn't know how to write. But now, um, all those just horrible trash crap movies with terrible, terrible writing that you see all over every day, every month they come out, every week. He's like, those are the best scripts there are in Hollywood. Nobody takes the time to learn how to write. And if it's that applicable in Hollywood, imagine how bad it is in comics. Well, you guys don't even have to imagine. The writing in comics is terrible. There are a handful of good writers. There really are. And unfortunately, a number of those handful are Trump derangement syndrome patients. So, but that doesn't negate their skill set. All right. I think I'm done on this side. Probably just going to do grass here. Now I have to pull in this side for the double page spread. Why spend it minimum 100 hours of drawing 20 pages of not much happening? What was in it for them? A pinup art book that would have been much more fun to draw. Yeah. See, here's the thing. For me, this as a writer, this kills me to write. This is going to have about 2 paragraphs worth of dialogue on it, or captions on it. And it's taking up 2 pages of story. Whereas, as an artist, this is epic. So I'm always wrestling with myself between being an artist and a writer, because I want to put as much story into the book as possible. But as an artist, I want to have the eye candy. And it's, sometimes it's a little hard balance. Someone was complaining on a critique that Lonestar 2 read too quickly. And, as a writer, I'd probably agree, but I don't want to be in love with my own words, and I don't want to fill pages up with words just to slow down the action. But as an artist, I want to have beautiful stuff for people to enjoy. So, but again, I have to listen to my critics, because their opinions are valuable, right? Even and especially the ones who despise me. Of course, I can always tell when someone is just saying something because they despise me, but that doesn't mean there's no truth in their words. Conflicated says, I would like to think I could be a good fiction writer, but nah. I think poetry and short stories are all I can pull off. Oh well. Kung Fu Kitty, I would suggest you don't go get story, because that's, like I said, it's a tome. It's a PhD on writing. But go get a little book called Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. It's like the junior college version of story. It's only about half an inch thick. It's an easy, fun read. And he gives you sort of a little cheat sheet on how to build out story structure so that it feels fulfilling, right? That's what you want. You don't want someone walking away from your story feeling like they weren't fulfilled, right? Satisfied by the story. And I feel like that's wrong. That is wrong. I'm gonna have to fix that somehow. But yeah, I think if you get that, you might find yourself wanting to write longer stories. Good stuff. Save the cat. Save the cat. Blake Snyder. Because you ever know, like, back when I was just starting out writing when I was a kid, I would think of cool scenes I wanted to have happen, right? And then I would write that scene down, and then I'd like put my scenes together in the story to kind of see how I could like knit it all together. That's kind of what it is when you have like a beat sheet, because you have these cool scenes you want to do. They're called set scenes, and if you can find a place where they fit in the story to fulfill a basic need in the story structure itself, then you've got a good use for it. Otherwise, again, don't fall in love with your own writing, because if a scene doesn't fit in the story, you gotta cut it. You gotta take that scene out, because the story is what matters, not any in particular scene. You know. I know you didn't ask me anything about that, but I'm just talking. uh, Hollywood is a dumpster fire. Oops, where'd that go? They trade in degeneracy behind the scenes, and their product reflect that of meritocracy. Oh no, not a meritocracy, a mediocrity. Meritocracy is the opposite. One of the telltale signs that you're dealing with someone who doesn't know how to write is I can adjust the page length of my book to add more. Yes. That dragon is so spot on. It boggles my mind when people are like, we'll just make the book longer if we hit this stretch goal. And I'm like, so you haven't written your story? I'm like, no, we wrote it. So you're just going to throw pages into the story. It's like, if they were important pages, they should be in the story already. If they're not important pages, they shouldn't be added to the story. Right? And yeah, I know Doug does that, but Doug's stories are, I wouldn't call them children's books, but I feel like he wants to add a ton of crap, because and the way he does his stuff, he doesn't tell a lot of story on each page. It's a lot of big actiony stuff. It's really fun to look at. But it moves along at like a lightning pace. So I think that you can't slow Doug down, but adding pages in his case is like, that's kind of him slowing it down, is well, because he can't slow it down. In order to beef it up, it's got to have more pages. But I don't know. That's his thing, not mine. The only person I've seen them say that is good enough to pull that off as a writer is Doug Tenable. I find Doug's dialogue a bit strained, maybe a little overwritten and sparse, but his structure and sense of story is incredibly good. Steve, I agree with you in a sense. I think like you kind of have to read Doug's stuff in voices. Like, I imagine when Doug is writing this stuff, he's got like the funky little voices of the characters, and if these were like the stuff he was writing was being played out like by voice actors and stuff, you would really get a better sense of the way it sounds. Um, you know what I mean? What's up, Inkwell? Oh shoot, I should get off. Should be interesting to see how Doomkickers comes out. I know, I can't wait. All the writing groups I have found are trash, either in terms of mean girls or people I'd rather not be in a group with type of people. It's the best way to describe them. Oh. Finding people who you fit with and who also know what they're talking about and can communicate that to you in a clear and honest manner is rare. True. True. Ren and Stimpy fart jokes stories. I love Ren and Stimpy. Thanks for the encouraging words, Mike and Sharon. You are very kind. Ah, oh, sure thing, Kung Fu Kitty. Dune Kickers is 2 years late. I don't think it's 2 years late. I think it's 2 years since the campaign launched. But I don't think it's 2 years late. That's a difference. Don't get confused with when it launched and when it was due. It is late. It is late indeed. Honestly, Elliot bit off more than he could chew. What? Oh, I thought you were trying to get my attention with the snapping. It should have been a 48-page book, and the initial campaign, I think, was reflective of a 48-page book, and then he turned it into a 96-page book, and I'm like, what are you doing? But hey, at least you'll get twice as much book. It's just gonna take twice as long to get it. Yeah, you shouldn't. I when Elliot told me he was making it 98 pages or 96 pages. Actually, oh gosh, darn it, he said over 100 now, didn't he? Didn't he say it was like over 100 now? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's insanity. That's why I write my scripts before I do the campaign. All done. The script for this book is in the can. Doom closed its initial Indiegogo on 7/29/2019. It closed it, but what was the due date on it is the question. There are these things called second issues, right? Space for Rent? I'm telling you. It was just a bad call. I don't want to throw Elliot under the bus, but it is his campaign. But, you know, Doug, it is his and Doug's thing, so. There is a few places you can go to get reviews and critiques. They're basically work where you submit your work and then you have to go to critique other people's work to get points they'd review. Elf Quest Collected Editions initially took out the connecting pages and the recaps, which made a better book, and then they added them back in a later edition as a bonus, but it produced a lesser product. Interesting. Elf Quest. Did you know that the Children of the Forest in Game of Thrones were based on Elf Quest? I don't remember if George said that like publicly or he just told me. I think he just told me. I wonder if he's ever said that publicly. Don't know how what was written or structured. What. I hear a lot of yelling in the other room on the TV. I think it's Abbott and Costello. All right. You know what's crazy? After this double page spread, then I have to jump back onto the secret project and do another double page spread. It's like all these double page spreads. It's going to drive me mad. I'm going to lose it. At least that one isn't full of chainmail. This guy's got chainmail on, so this is going to take me a while. Oh, how he planned it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Elliot, Doomkicker didn't make, $200,000. That's it did not make enough money for Elliot to just, take a year off and draw the book. That's the simple truth of the matter, So, gotta keep the lights on, gotta feed the kids, gotta pay the bills, do what you did, but he's working on it. He's working on it. That's what you gotta know. When I write a comic, I write prose, break that into a page plotline breakdown, then do a full script that allows for the control of pace and for an artist to have lots of structure and freedom. Let's see. When I write, what do I do? What is my... I'm trying to think. The last thing I wrote was the other book, and I had to... I'll tell you what. I should do like a how to adapt a novel. Because what I did with the novel is I went through the entire thing, right? And I wrote down every plot point, or not every scene, almost every scene. I guess maybe you could call it every scene. And and I numbered them out and whatnot. And then I went through all the scenes that I had written down because I was trying to narrow it down to 48 pages, and this was significantly more page work than that. And I had to start cutting what I thought was unessential to, telling a faster paced, more visually interesting story, while at the same time trying to keep in all of the important expositional aspects that the author was trying to get through. It was a chore, man. It was fun, but boy, it was hard work. Whittling down, doing abridgments like that. But ultimately, yeah, I did that. I whittled it down. I got it, and I did it. I just numbered out the scenes so that essentially each scene would take one page. And so I did like 48 scenes. Actually, what I did was 43 or 44 scenes, because I knew that some of these scenes would have to be expanded out to be more visually interesting. And ultimately, yeah, that's how I fleshed out that story. And then I sent it to the dude, and he loved it. Thought it was genius. It's always nice when an author looks at you cutting up his story into pieces and putting it back together, and he reads it and he says it's genius. Actually, not the first thing. I've adapted. I adapted Ted Dekker, Steve Alton, and now this guy. And then I helped. Well, I didn't help too much on the adaptations with the Sword and Head Knight, but I helped in the sense that when something didn't work right, I just fixed it myself and told the writer to change the dialogue. I'm surprised you do full scripts for comics you're drawing. I expect something like the dialogue and general sense of focus of the page. No, no, because that's the story, right? The story is important. It's the story of a cat who's gone to the dogs. This guy's got an arrow in his eye. That's no good. Bonk. Exact dialogue is the last thing I think about Steve Swanson. I only care about knowing whether there is going to be dialogue and general message of what's being said. Oh, not me, man. I like to have. I like my stories to have emotional impact, and a lot of times that only comes through. Well, maybe not only, but that first comes through the dialogue. That first comes through knowing exactly what is being said, and then draw the image appropriate to the scene in question. If you guys have read Lonestar 2, there's a scene in there which, I mean, I got emotional writing it. I got emotional drawing it. I don't know, you guys, if you read it, don't say anything, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Like, yeah. Me want to write you Lone Star, Mike. Sorry, Victor. I write Lone Star. Been great watching you draw again, buddy. I gotta head to bed, but this is amazing as always. Thank you, Mike McMahon. I'm gonna, it's been an hour, almost an hour and a half. I'm gonna wrap this up in a little bit here, and hopefully my wife's still awake and we can watch some more Last Kingdom. All of this death and dismemberment reminds me of Last Kingdom. In my strip, I know the joke, the punchline, and what I need to show visually to reach the punchline very loose. The overarching story is tight, but individual strips are loose. All right. Dun, 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 dun. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. My surprise was based on Mike having people critique his script, which indicated to me that it was pretty tight script that could be critiqued. If someone could critique mine, it can be 5 words or less. Yeah, it was a finished script. I do what I do. All right, this is going to be chainmail around here. Chainmail. Do, 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 do. This is not chainmail, but man, why am I so hungry again? Why am I always hungry? You guys are probably wondering the same thing. Why is Mike always hungry? So tonight I get to draw most of the Russians. Tomorrow I get to draw most of the Mongolians. All right, Junkyard, take it easy. It's almost that time for me to. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure it is rung. And hit that like button and share. Hit that share button. Let's get some more art fans in here so they can enjoy the drawing process. I haven't even checked how many subs this channel has. It's been a while. When I started, I would sketch out the character placement and write suggested dialogue, and then write that as a script, but it didn't allow for as much improvisation, and it wasn't as much fun. Everybody has their own way to do things. All this talk is not to say all writers are great. I feel bad for artists that are working with some writers. In one Discord group, I'm seeing a dude slowly go nuts due to a bad writer. No, I have not seen The Invisible Man. I have not seen it. It's a horror movie, right? It looked interesting. All right. I'm cringing with every line I do here because this is all gonna be chainmail. Chainmail, chainmail, chainmail. It's gonna take forever. Why? All right. And then he's got his spear here and his little Russian flag. I think that will do it for me tonight. I will try to get this finished tomorrow. I don't know if I can get this whole double page spread. No, I'm not going to be able to get this whole double page spread done tomorrow, but I'll get the penciling done tomorrow and get the inking started. And then I'll stitch this together. When I stitch this together, then I get to finish this guy's head here, which goes over this other dude, which I already drew, so whoops. And then I got to figure out where to put his other arm, helmet. And then I got to put this horse back together again. Fun stuff, fun stuff. 2-page spread. Can we watch you finish this tomorrow, Mike? Finish it? No. I can stream again drawing. Maybe we'll do a drawing stream tomorrow. If I get up early enough, I might be working on it on Brewbakers. But yeah, if I do it on Brewbakers, then he's just like, it's just him, huh? Maybe I could stream it. Oh, I know what I can do. I think I know what I can do. All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out and watching me draw on Mike Draws Comics. Please do tell a friend. Let them know what we do here on this channel. Let them know what I do on the other channels if you haven't already. You go be my apostles. The apostles of this thing. I don't have any videos on this. All I have is, hey, go back Lone Star at lonestarcomic.com if you have not already. That's the comic book I am doing right now. This is issue 3. Issue 1 and 2 are available on Indiegogo at lonestarcomic.com. If you purchase any physical copy, you can get all 3 digital books right now. Well, not right, as soon as I get the email. And you can read them before you get the books in print and in hand. This has been Mike Draws Comics. Peace out.